Hey, how's it going, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are all doing good and happy New Year's to everyone. Now for this video, we are going to be installing this bumper light kit right here. But at the moment, I'm actually not sure which light bar I want to pursue. So I'm using this cheap bumper light kit right here, just temporarily, just to make sure that I get all the wiring set up correctly on the Forester. With all that being said, let's just go ahead and open these real quick. And this is pretty much how it looks like. Let me go and show you guys how I want to set this up. And I'm actually planning just to put it right here. Something like this, nothing too crazy. Now you'll notice that I don't have any brackets to attach the lights on, so that's why I got the super strut right here. I'm just gonna be attaching it just like this, right into my roof cage. And you can see that mark already that I've made. And that's pretty much my plan. But let's go ahead and get started with this mod. And back to the installation itself, these are the items that I'm going to be using for this mod. First of all, it's going to be the super strut right here. I need to cut it right there, just to make sure I have enough for both sides of the vehicle or the roof cage. Next would be obviously the lights themselves. Next on this list is going to be this relay right here. Now for the switch itself, I'm going to be using this fog light from a Forester that I found at the junkyard. This is going to fit perfectly and it's going to look very, very OEM. So I'm super excited for this mod. As you can see, it clicks in, clicks off, and that light right there, you can see there, it should light up. I'm hoping it lights up. If not, it's okay. But obviously, I'm gonna be trying to take off this little icon right here. Next on this list is really just some heat shrink to tidy a few things up, some female connectors, and some mounting pads. And for this specifically, I'm just going to run all the electrical wires down the car. Next on this list, I do have this flex tubing right here. Last but not least, I do have a bunch of random connectors right here. I'm not sure if I'm going to be using any of this, but you never know. I think it's going to come in handy. But that's enough of this. Let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so in theory, this is how it's going to look like. You can see the super strut right here, kind of just being the new bracket for the lights. Obviously, there is a lot of work that still needs to be done. It doesn't look even. This is how it looks like. Let me know what you guys think so far. This is only the first half. Now it's time to go ahead and get the electrical stuff started. And before I do explain a bit more about how my wiring is set up on my vehicle, I wanted to showcase a bit more the switch itself. As you can see, there are 6 pins on the switch. And for the switch themselves, I did utilize these small connectors right here just so that they fit in just like this. With the switch being explained, let's go and continue with the rest of the schematic. Alright guys, so let's go and take a look at how I wired my schematics for the light bars. Now just looking at this, you're going to notice 5 main things that you're going to need for this modification. First of all, you're going to need the lights themselves, a relay, an inline fuse, a battery, and then a switch. And once again, just a quick disclaimer, this is how I have it set up on my vehicle, and it may not be the best or most effective way on wiring the lights for your vehicle, but this is how I have it set up on my specific vehicle. Now let's go ahead and take a look first at the relay itself. Now at the relay, you're going to notice 4 prongs. The first prong is going to be 30, 85, 86, and 87. And for 30, I have it directly connected to an inline fuse. And from that inline fuse, I have directly connected to the positive terminal on the battery. Now this connection will still work without a fuse, but I strongly recommend having an inline fuse. This way it can protect your vehicle in case there is something wrong with the wiring. Now looking at 85, this will be directly connected to the positive terminal of the battery. Now looking at 86 will be directly connected to the number 3 prong on the switch. And 87 will be directly connected to the positive terminal on the light bar. Now the negative side of the light bar would then be connected to ground. Now bringing it back to the switch, number 1 will be directly connected to the positive terminal on the battery, or to a different source, i.e. the fuse box or the radio. Now in this case, I have it directly wired to the battery because I want the lights to work even with the vehicle off. Now if you want the lights to work only when the key is in the ignition, as I mentioned earlier, you can connect that instead to a fuse box or directly to a radio instead. And as I mentioned earlier, the number 3 prong would then be directly connected to 86 on the relay. Now number 5 and 4 would then directly be connected to ground. Number 6 in this case will not be used, so let's go ahead and just mark that off. Now in my setup, I did not use the number 2 prong. The number 2 prong, if you use it, the little icon light on the button itself will light up. But if you do want the little icon light to come on the button when you're driving or in ignition, then feel free to wire that up to either the radio or a battery source. And so feel free to reach out if you have any specific questions about how this is set up. And let's go ahead and get this all ready up on the Forester. So if you look down here, this is how I'm gonna wire my switch. Right here, you're gonna see a little grommet. I'm just gonna feed this through just that way, and I'll show you guys where it leads up to. Alright guys, so let's go and take a closer look at how my wiring is set up. If you look right here, you will notice this is where I put the relay in. Now if you follow these wires right here, you will notice that it goes all the way down to the firewall, and through the firewall you will notice how it comes through right here through this grommet, and ultimately through the switch would be right here. Coming back to your front, you will notice this inline fuse right here, which is directly connected to the battery. As I mentioned before, just make sure you use an inline fuse just so there is extra protection in case your wiring goes wrong. And going back to the relay, you will notice that a lot of my grounding wires are going to this grounding nut right here. But let's go ahead and follow this up and show you guys how I did it. And you'll notice that I just have the wires going through the hood. Did not have to do any specific drilling. It fits perfectly and does not make any weird noises. And let's go and continue up the windshield. You will see how I have the flex tubing all the way up, being zip tied down by these little mounting pads right here, and continues to go all the way up to where the lights are. You can see the first light is right here, the second light is right over there. And if you look even closer, you will see how I have this bigger flex tubing hiding all the connections. Unfortunately, there were no black ones. The only one I was able to find is unfortunately gray, but it's gonna have to do for now. And that is how I do have it wired for my lights. Nothing too flashy. It could be better, but at the moment I don't mind it being wired out the window. In my opinion, it actually looks relatively nice, adds a lot of character to the vehicle. And let me go ahead and show you guys why I decided to directly connect the switch to the battery. Now, because it's connected directly to the battery, that means that this switch will work anytime, even when the car is off. And let's go ahead and see how it looks like. And that is exactly why I have it wired directly to the battery. Now, if you don't want that functionality, what you can do instead is directly connect this to the radio wiring instead. That way, the light will only work if you have the key in the ignition. All right, so let's go ahead and wait for nighttime so that we can go ahead and test these light bars out. Now, I'm not sure if I mentioned this in the video, but ultimately these lights I'm going to be replacing with an actual light bar down here instead. What I might do with these lights, I may actually just use them as the reverse lights. I think that would be very convenient. Or the ditch lights, maybe up here, or maybe right here where the cow is, but I'm still debating on that. But the most important thing about this mod is that now I know how to wire my lights, and it's going to be super easy in the future. So hopefully you guys did enjoy that. Alright guys, so that pretty much does conclude this video. Let me know what you guys think about the lights. If this video did help you, or if you still have any questions, feel free to like or leave a comment down below. And as always, if you guys want to see what happens next to XT, the 86, the 986, the Z, the 50, or the Macan, be sure to subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.